Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started. Greetings, knowledge seekers. Today we're taking a deep dive into Francesca Serritella's powerful novel, Full Bloom. This isn't just a story, it's a really profound journey into the life of Iris Sunnegren. We're looking at themes like trauma, ambition, finding yourself, and, interestingly, the power of scent. We'll trace her path chronologically, pull out the key insights, maybe a few surprising facts, and, try to keep it engaging.
Exactly. Our mission today really is to see how past events shape her present choices and how Iris learns to navigate, well, the world around her, but also her own pretty complex inner life. Get ready for some aha moments, I think. It's a conversation that'll likely leave you thinking about, the masks we all wear sometimes, the connections we're searching for, and what full bloom actually means for someone.
Okay, let's jump in. We're calling this first part the first whiff. The seeds of change and this very mysterious scent. So the story doesn't really ease you in. It kicks off with a terrifying prologue, a gas explosion at the Hendrix Houses projects in New York. You're just plunged right into the chaos through the eyes of these two young siblings, Isaiah and Kiara. And Kiara, she's got this amazing sense of smell, notices rotten eggs, quick thinking, helps get people out right before this huge kaboom. It leaves homes just blown to smithereens. It's, a really harrowing start.
It is. And what's interesting there is that initial scene, it's not just for drama, right? It's like a tremor that echoes through the whole story. It shows you how fast life can just unravel the impact of neglect. And it definitely foreshadows bigger systemic problems later on. It throws a strain to a world where vulnerability is, well, very real. Even your home isn't necessarily safe.
Absolutely, it's visceral. Then from that intensity, the focus shifts. We meet Iris Sunnegren. She's an architect, a lighting designer, about to turn 35, and just feeling, kind of fundamentally misaligned with her life. We see her hosting her best friend Hannah's baby shower, at the plaza, no less, very opulent. But inside, she's grappling with this news about her fertility. Alarmingly low, the book says. She feels at war with her physicality, wants a family, but feels like her body's betraying her.
And that raises such an important question, doesn't it? How does someone who loves plans, checklists, blueprints, so organized professionally, how does she cope when her personal life feels completely chaotic, totally out of her control? This clash between deep personal desires and biological realities. It's a struggle many people face, I think. It really sets the stage for her wanting some kind of transformation and way to bridge that gap between the inner turmoil and, the face she presents to the world.
Right. And it's exactly then, at this really vulnerable point, that her world shifts. Her neighbor, Madame Rapacine, who's quite enigmatic, a perfumer from Grasse, France, the perfume capital. She gifts Iris this mysterious, bespoke perfume. Rapacine has this whole philosophy about scent. Scent speaks in every language, tied up with the need to feel alive. And she tells Iris something quite intriguing. A flower scent, its power of attraction, is most potent on the cusp of decay.
Wow, yeah. That's quite a line.
Talk about a loaded gift.
It really is. And it suggests this isn't just a nice fragrance. It's framed as more of a catalyst, maybe an elixir even, something that could unlock parts of Iris's identity or maybe influence others around her. Rapacine's insight implies this deeper, almost primal power, and that phrase, cusp of decay, it's such a potent metaphor, potential heightened allure before a change, maybe even a warning about power that doesn't last. Makes you wonder if the magic is real growth or something. Artificial.
That's fascinating. And does that kind of effortless charm actually empower her? Or does it just make her dependent on something external? Because the effects are immediate, like astonishingly fast. Iris, who's usually pretty reserved, suddenly finds herself magnetic on a night out with her friend Roman. She even has this whirlwind encounter, a connection with a celebrity, Race Elliott. Feels popular, charming, funny, and beautiful. Total Cinderella moment.
Yeah, and that initial experience is key. The perfume seems to bypass logic, hitting emotional responses directly. Iris notes she feels fascinating, not just objectified. It gives her this taste of effortless confidence she hasn't had, but that immediate success, it creates this dangerous allure for her, instant validation. But it leaves us, and eventually Iris too, wondering, okay, where's this power coming from? Is it her, or is it just the scent? That question becomes central.
Okay, so moving into the heart notes section. Iris starts making moves professionally, but also faces some real hurdles at her firm, Cambella. Her ideas for the Wolf Development Project are innovative, human-centric lighting, indigo clean concepts. Good stuff. They catch the eye of the developer, Jonathan Wolf. But even with her brilliance, her colleague Nate Kind of overshadows her initially. He even takes credit for some of her proposals. She feels steamrolled.
And this perfectly shows that, that boys' club dynamic she's up against in architecture. Her work gets overlooked or credited elsewhere. Even her boss, Frank. He sees her talent, but he prioritizes Nate's growing family over Iris getting a promotion she clearly deserves. It's a pretty stark look at those systemic barriers, and it makes Rapacine's later comment that the game is already rigged against women feel spot on. It forces Iris, and you as the reader, to confront these often invisible hurdles women face, and the tough choices between just going along with it or pushing back.
It's definitely frustrating to read. But do you think her own tendency to sometimes freeze in tough spots plays into feeling steamrolled? Or is it purely the environment?
That's a fair question about her agency.
Because outside of work, she is navigating new connections. There's this charming flirtation with David, her neighbor. They bond over dogs. Nice guy, laid back. But then there's Gabe. He's a glassblower. His art's compelling, so is he. With him, Iris finds this really deep, passionate connection. She feels safe, present, and alive with Gabe, which is a big contrast to her old relationship with her ex, Ben.
Right, it's complex. She does sometimes freeze, but the environment certainly enables that or makes it harder to break out of. These new relationships, especially with Gabe, are so crucial for her growth. They push her past those old patterns. The chemistry with Gabe feels really intense, and importantly, it feels organic, at least initially. It's here she starts exploring real intimacy, real desire, maybe separate from the perfume's influence, or is it? It forces her to question the authenticity of her feelings and how others feel about her. That's a huge step towards self-discovery.
And then comes this really pivotal and frankly painful moment. Iris attends her cousin Jacob's funeral. This forces her to confront this deep trauma from a childhood house fire. Jacob saved her life then, but it came at a terrible cost for him. Addiction followed, ruining his future. She carries this immense guilt, feels she owed Jacob her life, and saving mine cost him his.
Oh, absolutely. This is a massive turning point. It's not just learning about Jacob's sad story. The conversation she has with his sponsor, with her Aunt Beth, they reveal the full tragedy, how his addiction started with pain meds for his injuries from the fire. And Gabe's perspective here is so powerful. As an adoptee, he talks about feeling saved, the burden of feeling indebted. He reframes it for her beautifully, helping her see it as a bond, not a debt. That distinction is incredibly freeing for Iris. It allows her to start shedding this weight she's carried for years. It's huge for her healing.
So as she's processing all this heavy emotional stuff, she gets offered this big job lead designer at Wolf Development. But remember Jonathan Wolf? She initially admired his talk about housing equity. Now she starts seeing, well, darker layers. During a dinner, he casually mentions a pilot program to renovate public housing. And it's connected to the Hendricks houses, the same place as the gas explosion from the beginning of the book.
Yes. Chilling detail.
It's a huge red flag.
It really connects everything back to that terrifying start. And it raises serious questions about the real cost of progress. Is this philanthropy, or is it corporate wrongdoing hidden behind a good cause? Her admiration for Wolf, seriously challenged now. She has to question his motives, the ethics of working for him, and this is where her tendency to maybe freeze starts clashing with this growing moral unease she feels.
Right. Meanwhile, back at her apartment building, Iris finds out Madame Rapacine is dealing with aggressive landlord harassment.
Yeah.
They want her out of her brownstone.
Oh,
but Rapacine, she reveals her unique defense strategy. She's been stink bombing her own apartment.
Stink bombing.
Yeah. A defiant act born from conviction. She tells Iris, love is never a weakness. Conviction has led many outnumbered armies to victory. It's quite a statement.
It really is. Rapacine, in her own, maybe slightly crazy way, becomes this model of fierce independence for Iris, self-preservation. Her actions, however, out there come from loving her home and refusing to be bullied. It's such a stark contrast to Iris's earlier habit of freezing up. It pushes Iris to think about being more proactive, maybe even defiant, when facing her own challenges. Rapacine's a mentor in perfume, sure, but also in living authentically, fighting for what matters.
Okay, now we're into the base notes. And things get, well, they get really dark. There's a trip to the Hamptons to Jonathan Wolf's ridiculously fancy beach house on Shelter Island. While there, Iris uses her new access at Wolf Dev to look into the Hendricks surveillance footage, and she finds it. Proof. Jonathan's right-hand man, Patrick, he was involved in that gas explosion.
Oh, wow.
But the betrayal goes deeper. Jonathan reveals he has an insurance policy. He secretly filmed Iris and Gabe having sex.
No, that's horrific.
And he's using it to control her. And then, twisting the knife, he points out the magic perfume made her reckless on the beach,
Yeah.
leading her to kiss him.
That is just Devastating on so many levels. It completely shatters her professional world, her personal security. Wolf's ruthlessness is just fully exposed. He's a true villain. The power dynamics are incredibly insidious. And tying the perfume's influence to her kissing him, that just complicates everything for Iris. Her self-perception, her agency, her desire. It makes her question if the thing she thought was empowering her was actually just making her vulnerable to manipulation. The magic is now a weapon against her.
And then the threat becomes physical. She gets home, finds her apartment completely ransacked. It's clearly Jonathan's doing. A chilling physical message. She feels totally violated, terrified. The battle just escalated.
Yeah, the ransacked apartment makes it real. It's a physical symbol of her vulnerability, of how far Wolf will go. It really ramps up the stakes. She needs allies, she needs to fight back, but she can't use the perfume now, right? It's tainted, tangled up with Wolf's control. This forces her to realize the danger she's in and that she has to find strength from inside herself. No more external quick fixes.
So, facing this absolute crisis, Iris starts dismantling the illusions she's built her life on. She finally confronts her ex, Ben, ends that whole on-again, off-again thing for good. She realizes her feelings for him were always about, like, stopping pain, stopping loneliness, not real love. Then she has this incredibly raw, honest talk with Gabe. The truth about the perfume, its influence on their connection, it all comes out.
And this period is so crucial for her self-acceptance and for building something real. The perfume revelations. They challenge everything she thought about her relationships, her own desirability. But Gabe's honesty is amazing. He admits his own insecurities. I couldn't get it up because that felt like a broke pump compared to your boss, that vulnerability. And then he says, I don't smell any perfume. His love is still there, unwavering. That offers her a path to genuine connection, rooted in truth, not some manufactured magic. His vulnerability lets them build something deeper, more authentic, something that doesn't need the perfume at all.
So the perfume's gone. She sees Wolf for who he is.
Yeah.
And Iris makes this incredibly brave choice. She rejects his lucrative job offer, refuses to be complicit, chooses her integrity over ambition. And she supports Madame Rapacine in her final act of defiance. Rapacine intentionally floods her own brownstone.
Wow.
Makes it unsalvageable, turns it into a symbol of capitalistic greed and inhumanity rather than let the landlord win. And in a really personal move, Iris goes ahead with her egg retrieval, taking control of that part of her future.
Yeah, you really see her shift here. From freezing to actively choosing, her integrity, her agency, her actions turning down the job, standing with Rapacine, show this newfound inner strength. She's not being manipulated anymore. She's building a future on her own terms, shedding those noxious lies she lived by. And the egg retrieval, in this context, it feels like more than just a medical thing. It's this defiant act of self-ownership, of hope, reclaiming her body, her future possibilities.
So our deep dive wraps up with Iris, after the egg retrieval, sitting in Gabe's van. She's physically tender, sure, but there's this new sense of freedom. She's smelling the real city scents, linden blossoms, cut grass, yeah, even car exhaust, and realizing she can find beauty, find connection without any artificial magic. She knows she needs therapy, needs a new job, but she also knows she can choose her own path now, armed with self-knowledge, with integrity.
That really is her full bloom moment, isn't it? The external magic is gone, but the internal transformation, that remains. She's shed the lies, stepped into a future where her worth comes from within, her connections are real. It's such a powerful statement about trusting yourself, embracing your unfiltered self, finding her true scent, finally, not one someone else made for her.
Iris's whole journey really makes you think about the appeal of shortcuts, doesn't it? The seduction of easy power, and what it really costs to wear a mask.
Yeah, it leaves you with a big question. If you had a secret weapon, something that could make you irresistible, help you achieve your goals effortlessly, would you use it? And if you did, what truths about yourself, or maybe about the world, might you risk overlooking? What might you sacrifice? What do you gain, really? And what could you lose by outsourcing your own power?
Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, spread the word.